I personally investigated the Oklahoma City bombing case. Huge cover-up. Jack Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. Bobby Kennedy's assassination, huge cover-up. World Trade Center, huge cover-up. Okay. Terrorism. They're using it as an excuse to take away our constitutional rights and our civil liberties. The Bilderbergs. The Illuminati, Bilderberg, New World Order, globalists are the element behind this. It dovetails into the satanic movement, and this movement has infiltrated into our intelligence community, the once great FBI and the CIA.
You know, I know a couple high-level FBI, former FBI, that retired after 25 years of service or whatever, and they talk about how corrupt their agencies were. And our government, you know, those at the very top are very conniving, and as long as they can get away with it, they will. If the highest level of sort of criminal justice has failed this country, there is no hope.
Do you get the sense that medicine is being weaponized against our freedom to trample our rights? Well, you're not alone. Today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Dr. Lee Merritt, and she's got a bio. I could spend all half an hour on her bio. I'll just kind of go through it real quick. She started her medical career at age 4 doing house calls with her father. She's a lifelong member of the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. She's the past president of the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons, which is a wonderful, wonderful group of doctors. She's a former board member of the Arizona Medical Association. This bio is just incredible. Classically trained physician, got her medical degree from the University of Rochester School of Medicine and Dentistry. She was an orthopedic spinal surgeon for 27 years, studied bioweapons, did her internship at the National Naval Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, in internal medicine. And then she did residency in orthopedic surgery at San Diego Naval Medical Center. She spent 10 years as a military surgeon. All over the place. She was awarded the Louis Goldstein Fellowship in Spinal Surgery, the only woman to have ever received that, and just incredible bio. She's been a speaker at Doctors for Disaster Preparedness, a wonderful conference if you're not familiar with it. And she is something of a free thinker. And so, Dr. Merritt, thank you so much for agreeing to be with us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been an exciting week. I was in Washington, D.C. before this. So, and, you know, when I gave my talk in August at the Doctors for Disaster Preparedness, I had been asked to talk, and I had come up with an idea years before that. Literally, I'd started thinking about a talk for them over the couple years because I go to the meetings periodically. And my talk was on the weaponization of medicine. The problem is, by the time I actually was ready to give the talk, I had to change things so rapidly because they did it.
What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you how we got here, and I don't think it was by accident. This is a talk I'm starting to give about the weaponization of medicine.
Can you come in? I don't want to discuss this. Yeah. Why would you ask a question if I needed to see a psychiatrist?
I asked if you'd ever seen one in the past.
Well, first of all, I offered to show you the medical evidence, and you refused to even look at it. And then you asked me
It was an otolaryngologist.
Okay. I have a lot of medical, and not just one. I have many doctors. And those doctors who diagnosed the trauma and nerve damage to my ears and other areas of my body from these directed energy attacks here in states in Kentucky, Hong Kong, Central America, South America, do all those medical practitioners need to see a psychiatrist too? Because, I mean, maybe I should tell them they should go see a shrink.
There are some people who, for reasons that we don't fully understand, believe that they are the target of attacks by...
I had medical injuries to show the attacks happened.
Okay. I mean...
My human rights attorney, Diego Corral, said to me it's irrefutable evidence. Okay?
Okay.
So I just thought I'd mention that to you. And because of that statement, next time I come, I'd like to see a different doctor.
Sure. I have no problem with that.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what happened is, during the Obama era and we got Obamacare, one of the things it really did was it corralled physicians into a pen because it made it so almost impossible to, I used to be in private practice. I had 7 employees. I was doing spine surgery every day. And it was all in, I worked in a hospital. I went up there, but they didn't pay me. I was all independent. So I wasn't under their thumb in the sense that they could order me around. I had to meet certain criteria, but you know what it is when you're in a hospital but not of the hospital. Well, what has happened through the Accountable Care Act is that people, the hospitals have bought out these practices, and very few doctors are independent now. So we have a situation where, and this is what I figured out just recently. What has happened unbeknownst to us is that over a period of time, and I say this to people. I had the honor of having fallen asleep right in front of Tony Fauci when I was an intern in medicine in a room with 4 people. So needless to say, I didn't get an immunology fellowship. But anyway, but Tony Fauci is the key to this whole thing. The reason he didn't get fired is he is like the deep state's biggest asset. So what they've been doing is all these Gates Foundation and Rockefeller Foundation, all these different foundations, through Bill Gates, they funneled money into the NIH across the desk of Tony Fauci. He had $500 billion given to him just for HIV and another $300 billion for miscellaneous stuff that he could use. And he funded all this research and all these things. But along the way, all the corona research, he's funded the Wuhan lab. He literally funded PLA virologist Dr. Xi to come to our bioweapons lab at USAMRIID and do research on virus on Marburg. That's insane. But he's been doing all this, and we didn't pick up that the centralization of power of this one person at the NIH. Through his funding, he's got all these university hospitals controlled. Huge money, all these university hospitals depend on NIH funding now. And he's at the heart of that. And he's got a Rolodex and a long arm. He can jerk your money if you don't say what they want. So unfortunately, we're in a situation now where all the doctors work for these hospitals. And so you've got 3 tiers of doctors in these big hospitals. You've got the administrative guys that took the money, the leaders and all that stuff. And, I think if they're not psychopaths, they've sold their souls over this. Because if they're not reading the literature and they're not appreciating that we can treat these things and save people's lives, and if they don't realize that, I found out the hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine thing, these lysosomotropic agents, they go back to 1974. So we stifled the ability to save people from viral illness, whether we're talking flu or not. Every year they told us, take your flu vaccine because 60,000 people died. Well, it wasn't of flu, but it was of influenza. I'll give it was a virus, influenza-like illness. We could have maybe saved them because we've had a possibility of treatment and they stifled it, suppressed it for all these years. So there are doctors at the top of academic medicine that must have known this. And then below them, way down on the bottom, are people like my son, actually, who's still in training. And they can't speak out. They're stuck. I hear from medical students, you probably do too, medical students, residents that are very sad about the moral quagmire they see their profession going into, but they can't really do anything about it. They're too